Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. What would you do if all of a sudden your bank statement revealed an unexpected deposit of $120,000? What, would you contact the bank to find out why it was there? Or say to yourself, finders keepers, and keep your head down? Maybe you'd quickly seek advice, but whose advice? Seeking advice can be tricky because while some counselors might tell you to return it to the bank, others might tell you it's yours. But then you'd still have a decision on your hands. Whose counsel should you follow? The tendency would be to follow the advice of the one who told you what you wanted to hear. That's what happened to Robert and Tiffany Williams in Pennsylvania recently. They discovered an extra $120,000 in their bank account. A bank teller had made a mistake. The couple sought advice, and as a result, rather than contacting the bank and reporting the error, they listened to the advice they wanted to hear and went on a spending spree. Within a few days, they had bought a racing car, a camper, 2 four-wheelers, a car trailer, and a new sports utility vehicle. They also paid off their bills and handed out $15,000 to some friends in need. About 3 weeks after the windfall, however, the bank discovered the error and called the Williams, asking the couple to return the money. Tiffany told the bank that she no longer had the money because they'd already paid off bills with it. She said she would speak to her husband and attempt to construct a repayment agreement. But then she cut off contact with the bank. The bank promptly reversed the deposit, of course, which left the Williams with an overdraft in their account of $107,000. The bank also called the police. The Williams were soon arrested and released on $25,000 bail as they awaited trial, charged with 3 felony charges of theft and receiving stolen property. In court, Robert Williams lamely confessed, "We took some bad legal advice from some people and it probably wasn't the best thing in the end." It wasn't the best thing indeed. How's that for an understatement? But before we condemn the Williams for following advice that lined up with what they wanted to do anyway, perhaps we should ask ourselves if we ever do the same thing. Any car salesman will tell you that emotion trumps logic. There's a story in the Bible about a man who paid dearly for carelessly following advice that corresponded with what he wanted to do. Prince Absalom, son of King David, was leading an insurrection against his father David, who was heading out of town for the Jordan River to get out of harm's way, while Absalom consulted his counselors, Ahithophel and Hushai, as to whether he should attack the King David immediately or delay. Ahithophel advised Absalom to attack immediately. Hushai advised him to delay. Reluctant to commit regicide, Absalom followed the advice that lined up with his preference. "The advice of Hushai is better than that of Ahithophel," he said. So Absalom delayed, and within a short time he himself was killed in battle, and King David was able to return to his throne in Jerusalem. It's good to seek counsel, but we should be prepared to accept what we need to hear, not just what we want to hear. In Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, the Bible urges us, don't try to figure out everything on your own. Listen for God's voice in everything you do, everywhere you go. He's the one who will keep you on track. Listen to God's voice. Now, that's advice we can always count on. Like it or not. And thank you for tuning in once again to Village Church Connections.